Welcome back to the Aftermatch with Kirsten Beav. Come for the rugby, stay for Ardie Savea. Beav, everyone is saying right now, get that man a statue. Not many have a statue outside Eden Park. Is it time? Is it time for the man of the moment, the man who, as you said last week, Beav, doesn't miss a moment to be bronzed up?
No, it doesn't miss a moment. And when you think of these statues outside Eden Park, I guess one of the other great loose forwards who could do it all a bit before your time, I certainly caught the back end as a kid watching the great Sir Michael. And anyone you talk to, that's the closest thing, I guess, as far as style of footballer. And obviously Richie was a little bit of a different style compared to both those two, but yeah, what an impressive performance from a man in his 100th game, Kirst, to still have all the hype, all the hoopla, and go out there and perform like he did.
If there is a statue, Sir Michael's the one diving, right?
Yes.
So what would Ardie's still image be?
I'd love it to be him doing one of his kick and regathers. But
so would you be like mid-kick or?
Well, but it's probably, and I don't know how it would look in bronze, but it's probably him stapled over trying to get a turnover. And so probably not a great reflection depending on what angle you get him from, but still, what a performance. You talk about Eden Park and the statues. You knew it was going to be like that, but the atmosphere, Kirst, at Eden Park last night, there's games that you go to which are nice to be at, but don't live long in the memory. I think anyone that was there last night got swept up in the occasion, the emotion, and just it's what makes rugby great. It's what makes tests great. It's what makes the All Blacks so special to this country. And I guess it's quite clear that New Zealand's now a suburb of Johannesburg, and the flavour and colour, the noise of the South Africans made the night special too. I was a little bit worried, I must admit. I got to Eden Park very early, drove around Kingsland to get to my car park.
You found your car park this time, Beav?
I found the car park.
For those that don't know, Beaver's got a pass that gets him right into the stadium. Special treatment, of course, if you've won a World Cup there.
No, not that. No, it wasn't Kirst, so don't tell porkies. But what I was alluding to before I was so rudely interrupted was early afternoon, there was more green jerseys than black jerseys floating around the suburb of Kingsland. And maybe it's a flow-on effect from how well they do game days and they make it an event in South Africa. But I was worried that they didn't have to show passports when we let the tickets out, because I thought at one stage it was going to be Lions-esque, where we've had games at Eden Park where it's been all red. But thankfully, there was enough Springbok supporters there to make an atmosphere, but not take over.
Absolutely brilliant, and way to rub it in for all of us that weren't there, Beav, because obviously you don't get that exact same vibe when you're watching it on television.
Well, Kirst, you know me well enough. When I'm fist pumping and high-fiving as we're watching games, you know that the atmosphere's got me. I'm not an excitable person, but geez, I was up last night.
What was getting you fist pumping and high-fiving?
The atmosphere. The atmosphere.
The atmosphere that you were high-fiving about.
Well, no, you couldn't help but feel the electricity there at Eden Park last night. And when Narawa scored his try, I turned to Millsy, who I obviously worked with all night, and said, "We're fine. Okay, we can all rest easy. We're on
you
tonight."
Thought we were fine in the first 2 minutes. How come then in the first 15, Beav, it very well could have ended in a draw?
Yeah, well, South Africa's the world champions for a reason, Kirst, and they came back with absolutely everything. You looked at the start of the game, and the All Blacks were so sharp. They were able to execute stuff that they'd seen, they'd prepared for. The Narawa try, they had obviously seen the footage. They knew that they were going to be able to get them tight. And when I say tight, Jesse Creel was about as wide as the far upright. And so that leaves about 30 or 40 metres of space. A, for Bodie to land a kick, but B, for Narawa to be able to have that freedom and only have to beat LaRue to get across the line. And LaRue doing his job too, he was prepared to gamble and leave Narawa, but he followed Creel to a sort of 50-50 situation. He wasn't connected to Creel, but he wasn't also all over Narawa, and he was caught in a little bit of no man's land. They get it to Narawa. Narawa slips, somehow Vens beats LaRue and gets Eden Park absolutely rocking. And as I said, put all of us people who had a little bit of nerves and tension at ease. And then we followed that up with another set-piece try, beautifully analysed. Like, I mean, let's not beat around the bush. The coaches, have been copping it from everywhere. That's what it's like here in New Zealand. The coaches usually cop it when things aren't going well. And they've gone away, they've spotted that one for Narawa, and then they had this line-out play, which they obviously, the overthrow, they knew that they could drag out the Springboks, and that would leave their tail gunner, as they talk about, the guy off the back of the tail, being the next defender. And who was that going to be? It was the great Marks, and as good a rugby player he is, the last thing he would have wanted is to be one-on-one and a bit of daylight either side of him with Will Jordan coming at him. And again, manipulated beautifully, and suddenly the All Blacks are rocking and rolling. And I guess for their confidence from where they've been, with the build-up, with the anticipation, it was the perfect start.
But then the rain started coming down, Beav.
Yeah, the rain did. And look, again, I was obviously glued to Millsy all night, getting ready for the different parts of our job there with Sky. And we commented early that the gods of Eden Park had been looking down upon the All Blacks because it had stopped raining. And we all knew we wanted a dry track. But then I don't know what the gods did after 20 minutes and decided that they wanted to bring the rain back. But we did think, this isn't great for us. The All Blacks, to their credit, tried to continue with the tempo and, I guess, endeavour to keep the game going at a pace that they thought was going to be too much for the Springboks. But then, and this is where I think Finlay Christie deserves a lot of kudos there, curses, they were playing a little bit, recognised that they probably couldn't shift the ball as quickly and as easy as they wanted to. So then he calms it down and puts in these box kicks. And the box kicks, again, I guess a modern trend of it's the shallow box kick. And so Christie was putting these kicks up sort of 15 or 20 metres downfield, making a contest of everything. And as we've seen, the box kick, doesn't matter who's underneath them, they are now a proper 50-50 battle. So they managed it well. They still tried to play. We'll get into it later, what I think they'll have seen moving forward. But I thought they managed the rain as best they could have, knowing in the back of their mind they wanted to play with speed, tempo, skill, ball in hand.
What about all the HIAs, Beav? Like, clearly this was a very, very physical match because it seemed like, particularly in that second half, that every 5 minutes another player was being dragged off with an HIA. Whether some of those were legitimate or not, whether some were the mouth guards lighting up or were there actual contacts that were being seen, but there were just a lot of people coming on and off the field.
There certainly was. And look, if we talk about the second half in particular, it was interesting. It was like a train station. They were coming and going, and it was interesting who was coming and going. The
most interesting thing, Beav, is how you end up with Andre Pollard back on in the last 7 minutes when you're down by 7 and you need a win, and Sia Khaleesi's back on in the final 10 as well. Two people that had been dragged after, 20 minutes into the second.
Are you suggesting that it's a potential coincidence or planned that...
You remember the World Cup. Was it the quarterfinal that they played? That really, really intense match. And somehow Russie managed to have his starters, have his bomb squad, and then have his starters back on again.
Right.
Like, there is only one person in international rugby that's able to do that right now, and it's him in South Africa.
Yeah, look, albeit for us to question how the greatest goal kicker under pressure can somehow end up back on the field when you need a goal kick. But who knows? Maybe legitimately there's a loophole in the role. I will say around the head knocks, one that I had worries considering how experienced he is and how well he's been playing and how important he is to the All Blacks at the moment for a team that's been struggling, was Cody Taylor. Cody Taylor was immense while he was on the field, and it happened right beneath us. And when it happened, you could see it straight away, and you think, I hope that's his shoulder. And then there was just a wee bit of a stagger, and oh no. And he didn't even HIA test curse. He went straight to the bench. That was an automatic one. So Taki Aho deserves a bit of credit here because A, he probably wasn't expecting that. B, he was part of the Buenos Aires game, which didn't quite work out. And there was a few missed lineouts in Buenos Aires and what have you. But Sonny, geez, he was impressive. He was around the park. He was big. He was physical. But again, on a night like that, with nowhere to hide, and he's got a skill that is going to be examined more than anything else against the Springboks, did his job.
Look, people are going to come at me for being like chief bias here, but what about Simon Parker and just his second game for the All Blacks, Beav?
Yeah.
Did he impress you?
Yeah, it really did. Like, when he was part of a loose forward trio, which I thought was mightily impressive. I think there's just a couple of incidents there that highlighted, I won't just say the big man aspect, because we see Ardie do it, and he wouldn't be regarded as a huge man by international loose forwards sort of standards. But you saw Simon Parker a couple of times dominate a contact, and it's a funny thing to highlight, because you go, well, he's an All Black loose forward. Shouldn't he be doing that, Beav? Well, yeah, but he's up against guys who physically are bigger, don't get dominated too often, and a couple of times he really won some contacts. And you couple Simon Parker's performance with the fact that it's his second test match. His first test match is in this historic loss in Buenos Aires, and he's probably coming home on a plane for 25 hours thinking, geez, I hope I get another one. And then he's starting the most important one in living memory outside of a World Cup game at Eden Park. It was a great performance. Couple that with Wallace Satiti, who hasn't had much rugby this year. I talked about it pre-game. There's something about it, and I know it probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but when you're a 9 and a 10 and you're dealing with slow ball, you want someone who can gain your momentum all of a sudden. And I don't know how many times last night where things were just sort of neutral as far as speed of ruck ball. And you can't really do much off neutral to slow ruck ball. You just can't, because defences just get set and come at you again. His ability, Kirst, to be able to get you on the front foot from a static or neutral sort of ruck, it honestly blows my mind. And it's the rugby nerd coming out of me who used to sit behind packs, and want that sort of momentum, that just, you can't help but love what he can do with the ball. And so those two, combined with the man of the moment, Ardie Savea, as a unit, I thought that three were unbelievable and a shining light, not just for the All Blacks, but across the field.
Who else used to be able to do what Wallace TT can do? Like, who else have you marvelled at in the past that can do that?
Well, it's a certain sort of athlete that can do it. And like, off the top of my head, Jerome Kano. Like, because Jerome, when we were 15 and 14, he was a centre. So he's got that athleticism, that speed, that footwork, and he's a big man. He had the ability to get a ball, standing start, slow ruck ball, beat the first guy, and then just get enough of his nose through that you can get a quick ruck off the back of it. But as I said, Kirst, there's so few that can do it. Sione Luaki was one that I played with that could do it, but that was because he was just a physical specimen that took a lot of stopping. And, there's not many. I mean, as a kid, you probably watched the likes of, someone like Anisi Talamaka, who's played a bit for the All Blacks and the Highlanders, another big man. But honestly, it's a small group that can do what Wallace can do from slow standing starts. I mean, Ardie's there. He's another one that can do it. But it is such a gift for the All Blacks to be able to get momentum again on the back of Wallace's carries.
We're obviously going to talk about Ardie and that moment and how it played out in the final minute. But there were other moments that Ardie had in that match, didn't he? What about chasing down Cheslin Colby?
Yeah, that was I sort of missed it at the time, but then when we were reviewing the game
you were too busy high-fiving, were you, Beav?
I was too busy getting a bit emotional. But it was phenomenal, and I guess it just highlights the whole package we've got with Ardie, that he can go toe for toe over 40 metres to put pressure on the world's greatest winger and not lose it. If that ball stays in, I don't think Cheslin Colby scores, because Ardie's still there. He wasn't getting dragged, like I would if me and you having a sprint race, Kirst. There was legitimately toe for toe. So those sorts of moments, not giving up. Obviously, you don't expect anyone to give up, but when you look across and you see Cheslin Colby and you're a loose forward, do you think that I can match him? Well, he did, and it's just, I guess, it's just another example and another thing that we marvel at with the great Ardie Savea.
Just to confirm, if we were in a foot race, you'd be 10 metres behind me. There's no way you'd be Ardie, and I would be Cheslin Beav. We know. Like and subscribe, by the way.
Am I on crutches or what? I'm just trying to work out.
You don't want to miss a moment on this show, so make sure you like and subscribe. And on that note, I feel like I know where you're going to go here, Beav, because the whole world is probably going here right now asking for the bronze statue and everything else. He is the best player in the world. He is the most influential player in the All Blacks and has been the best player in the All Blacks for the best part of how many of his 100 tests, Beav? Seriously. Our Black Magic All Black of the weekend, who are you going for?
Well, I think we're going to end up in the one spot, but I must say a massive performance from Tupou Vaa'i. He was back in locking position after being at 6, and he went head to head with, I won't just say the best locking partnership in World Rugby, but it's the best locking crop in World Rugby, isn't it? There's 4 or 5 that when they chuck together with Big Eben are just brilliant. And it wasn't just his line-out ball winning, it was his line-out pressure, it was him around the park, some of the tackles, some of moments that you're thinking, oh, who did that? It was Tupou Vaa'i. So massive performance from Tupou. Curse.
Did you notice in the last few matches how his confidence has grown to be like you and start high-fiving and hooping and hollering, celebrating all of these small moments in the match? He didn't used to be like that. He's like that now. He's rubbing it into the opposition. He's giving it a yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've watched him closely. I reckon that's been there for a while. I think it's the influence of spending a good couple of years with Brodie Retallick and knowing the fine art of getting under the opposition's skin. And I think Tupou is well and truly got that now. But yeah, I think he's been working on it for a while, because to be on that point, I know we've sidetracked here for a minute. There was a little bit of that towards the end, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the niggle from the boys. But no, back to the Black Magic All Black of the weekend. Tupou Vaa'i gets an absolute special mention. I thought Billy Proctor, best game in the All Black jersey, so he gets a mention too, without a shadow of a doubt. But it is the king of the world rugby. It's the king of our country on this Sunday morning, without a shadow of a doubt. It's Ardie Savea. Yes, he was everywhere, Kirst, but if we can just go into that moment that kept the fortress alive, let us go for another couple of months at least until the Wallabies come, and we can do it all again with the same excitement and build-up. You've got to appreciate, yes, loose forwards go and get turnovers, and yes, they have a crack, but it's picking the moment. Like, it is such a fine line now. Either you get the turnover and get the penalty, or you concede a penalty. And for him to know and be that confident that now's my time, you've got to remember the try line's 5 metres behind him. And South Africa are pouring everything at the All Blacks in a game that you thought, we can't lose this from the position we got ourselves into. And with all that on, he has the ability to go, bang, now's my time. And I guess it's a sign of greatness. We talked about it during the week. He won't miss the moment. His biggest moments are when it's been about him, when he's been, I guess, the man that everyone's turned to. And just a phenomenal performance. And that's why, for me, the Black Magic tackle All Black of the weekend has to be the man in his 100th test, Ardie Savea.
There was also a beautiful moment, which some of you may have seen on social media going around. Actually, probably millions have seen it, because I've seen the number of views on these videos afterwards, when Ardie had the Lion King like necklace on with all of his chocolates, just because he's such a hero in the Samoan community. Him and Sia Khaleesi embracing, and Ardie's daughter, his eldest daughter, running up and saying, Uncle Sia, Uncle Sia. And Sia's like, how are you? That's how close these teams are. That's how close these two are. Like, it's such a beautiful moment in rugby, that.
Yeah, I mean, go hammer and tongs at it. And then after the game, there is very much a beautiful respect and relationship between the two countries. Jesse Creel who's one of the world's nicest men you'll ever meet. He stayed out in the field for a long time afterwards to spend time with Ardie as well. I saw the Springbok management well after the final whistle, well after everyone had gone in, came back out with some gifts for Moose, All Black team manager. So just, it is great. I mean, on the field, it is absolute warfare. But I think as far as the rugby world goes, I think we do have a very, obviously there's the rivalry and the strong history, but I think probably similarities. Although we often laugh at some of the South Africanisms that are out there, we are so close in personality as nations, I think. So I think that's reflected from those moments you saw on TV, Kirst.
Don't forget as well, make sure you vote for our Black Magic All Black of the week. We'll put out a post in the next day. You can comment away and be in to win a beautiful Black Magic tackle prize pack. And it's the time of year, Beav. It's the time of year to get out there on the water and get me some fish, please.
Oh, talk about the Black Magic prize packs we've been sending out. We've just been stocked up again from our great mates at Black Magic, and we've got surf casting packs. I've got snapper packs. We got kids packs. I've got beanies.
Okay,
I've got hats.
Some snapper Beav.
Oh, I've got to find some time. I mean, these are for our listeners who I'm sure have got the time. But yes, thanks to our great mates at Black Magic Tackle. And as you've mentioned, it's coming into spring, and spring is snapper time, Kirsten. Well, one of my favourite times of the year is spring, of course. That's when they start to get on the bite properly and you can get out a bit with some more settled weather. However, one of my favourite ways to catch them is straylining, Curse. And, well, Black Magic makes life easier. They have pre-made strayline rigs if you're a bit lazy, or I won't say lazy, just don't have time, or just want it all done for you. You can just hook that on to the main line and you are gone with your straylining rigs, and just let those bait runners skreel off with a nice moocher on the end of it, or with all the great Black Magic terminal tackle, make your own. Like I do, Kirst, when I've got time, I make my own straylining rigs, but it's all available for you with Black Magic Tackle at blackmagictackle.com or any great retail shop.
I've got so many questions. Talking tactics on the water, we'll have to do it one day. But I just wanted to go back to the rivalry quickly. We've had so many comments in the last week on all of our podcasts, and thank you to each and every one of you who comment away, who share their thoughts, who tell us you think we're the best rugby podcast around. We literally read every single one of your messages on this rivalry. So many people were just saying that this is the greatest rivalry in rugby. Rugby just wouldn't be the same without the All Blacks and Box, and so many positive comments as well, basically saying, may the best team win. So I know that everyone that listens on our podcast is extremely positive, right? But there are a lot of people on social media that aren't so positive. I went through a few comments, not on our page, but I went through a few comments last night after that match, Beef, and I just wanted to read a few to you, if that's all right.
Go on.
And I'm not going to say names because, as I say, these aren't our wonderful listeners and viewers on the aftermatch. These are just other South Africans. The ref needs investigating. Give the referee man of the match, New Zealand's best player. And then this one, death, taxes, and the Box fans blaming the referee. The irony of crying over the ref when the ref literally won you the World Cup. There are some amazing, amazing text messages out there from people, from us, very positive, but from a lot of others on a lot of other blogs, Beav. The ref gets a lot of crap. There was nothing wrong with the refereeing last night, was there?
No, I thought it went either way. I mean, there's always, when you lose, there's always going to be situations. But I mean, with 3 minutes to go, we were pitch side, and we were trying to work out how they worked out that Dupes Karifi had actually stole the ball legitimately, but we're actually going to carry on because I think there was a head high there somewhere. You know, we were thinking, oh, geez, we're getting hard done by ourselves here, but it's swings and roundabouts. And these guys, like, who would be a referee at this level, Kirst? Like, who would want that job when you think about the rucks and the decisions that every single ruck includes, when you think about the atmosphere, when you've got a 50,000 baying for blood in the stands and knowing that the world's watching? It's a thankless job. It really is.
Not me, but just like how we need the rivalry, we need referees. So we don't want to put people
No.
off. The good people, we need them in our game. Look, we're going to do a second podcast. That is the first part of our podcast. Like and subscribe. We're going to drop this now. Let us know your thoughts, your comments. Send in your All Black Magic person of the weekend as well. And we'll be back tomorrow on the aftermatch for what the Box need to do to turn this around in Wellington in 7 days' time.